What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Trey with Ghost Tactical, and we're going to go through another video in the LPVO series. And today what we're going to talk about is how to mount an LPVO. So before we get into zeroing and shooting it and all that, we've actually got to get it on the rifle. So what we're going to do is we've got our battle rifle here, and what we're going to do is show you how to mount your LPVO. So we're going to be using a Monstrum mount, and you can, once you have a nice mount like this, you can use them with most any brands as long as they are going to be similar, like a 30mm tube or whatever. You can go ahead and use pretty much any mount for any brand of LPVOs. So but we're going to use this Monstrum mount, and today we're going to be using this Swamp Fox 1-to-8 LPVO. This is an Arrowhead, and this is a really nice one. You can probably get this for about $450 somewhere. Great optic, and we'll obviously have a video about this one in detail coming up. But we're going to utilize this to mount the optic and show you how. So basically the first thing you want to do is get your mount, and you want to set it on the top rail. Make sure that you have it on the upper. If you've got a rail here on the barrel and all of that, floating handguard or whatever, try not to mount the mount onto that upper or that handguard, because it's going to be unstable. So you want to try to mount it on the upper rail. It's going to be a lot more stable, and it's going to hold everything there. So what I try to do, you can play around, it's going to be your own thing, but what I try to do is I try to mount it as forward as I can. With this offset mount, it's going to push it out a little bit and all that. So but I'm going to try to mount this as far on the rail as I can. And the best thing that you guys probably need to do when you're working with any kind of optic is get a torque wrench. Now this is a Wheeler torque wrench. You can get them online, Amazon, anywhere. I highly recommend. This is a rifle torque wrench. It's built to do rifle work, so especially with optics and all that. And when you go, you want to check your manufacturers. When you get your LPVO, read the manual, and it should tell you what kind of pounds of torque. Typically, now don't use this as the gospel, but typically to mount it on a rail, you can use anywhere from 25 to 30 pounds of torque, and to actually, when you mount the rings on top of the scope, anywhere from 15 to 20. A lot will be about 18 or so, but you know, start with 15. You don't want to go too tight, because you obviously don't want to crack the optic. So this little torque wrench is wonderful to have. So we've already mounted this, as you can see, on the rail using about 25 pounds of torque. It's good to go. It's not going to go anywhere. The first thing we want to do once we've got this done is we have it on a stand here, a rest, and you want to make sure that everything is leveled before you start going. So now that we've got the rest leveled, what we want to do at this point is make sure that the rifle itself is leveled in the stand, in the rest, because we don't want to have it catty cornered and all that. Best thing to do is come up here by the charging handle, and if it is, then you just need to make an adjustment. Now we have the actual rifle leveled as well. Then at that point, we're going to grab the LPVO itself, and we're just going to kind of place it in here, kind of balance it. You don't have to worry about anything as far as how it's going to go. Just put it in there to where it's secure, relatively level, as level as you can. But we're going to get to that point in a minute. At that point, you grab one of the rings here, and at this point, what you want to do is, I usually set this at about 15, okay? But right now we're not going to tighten it. We're just going to get it going just a little bit to hold the rings in place, just so they don't fall off. Okay, got that one, and then get the back ring. Do the same thing. You're not tightening it, you're just getting it started, just so it'll hold it in place. Okay, so it's in there. Now at this point, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get behind the rifle, get your nice cheek weld, and at this point you're going to try to find that reticle and make sure that it is the right eye relief. Now each LPVO is going to have its own eye relief, and that is basically from here to your eye. This one is about 3 to 3.5 inches. Now what I try to do to start a good starting point is to basically start this as close to the charging handle as you can. That's a good place to start for any LPVO. And at that point you can adjust it however you need to. And if you need to move the mount back or forward, obviously you can do that as well. But you want to try to start this maybe towards the edge of the charging handle itself. And at this point we're going to look through the scope and make sure that we get a nice sight picture. There's no shadows around the ring or anything like that. It's going to be a nice clear sight picture. So now that we've got that set and we know that we have a nice sight picture, the best thing to do right now is to level it and all that. So if we had to move it in and out and all of that, then we've got that kind of set. Now we want to make sure that this is level before we tighten it down. So once again, we get our nice little trusty little leveler, put this right on top, and we're going to move it until it's perfectly level. Now at this point, keep that leveler there. We're going to go ahead and tighten a couple of these screws. Once again, a good torque wrench. I've got it at about 16, 17 pounds. The best thing to do is kind of go like an X, so you're getting equal pressure on each side. So I've got that one. Okay, so I've got the front ring securely attached. Let's do the back ring. Go ahead and take that off. So now that we've got it set up and all of that, just double check. If you have to go back and loosen them up a little bit to adjust, you can. You just want to go back and make sure that everything's level. And so that's level, that's level. So we now know that we have a leveled optic ready to go, ready to shoot. So like I said, it's not hard, but it's not something you want to rush through. Make sure that you don't over tighten. Make sure you don't under tighten. You want to make sure that it's going to grab a little bit, but you don't want to over tighten, especially the rings around the scope itself. Last thing you want to do is spend a lot of money on a scope, over tighten it, crack it, and it's worthless at that point. It's a nice paperweight. It looks good, but it won't work. So that's why I said, get yourself a rifle torque wrench. It is one of those things that you can get on Amazon for 20, 25 bucks. It is well worth the investment, and it comes with all sorts of different attachments and all that. As you can see, it's got all sorts of different attachments that you just pull in. But yeah, torque wrench is going to save you and save time and all of that. So once we've got that mounted, it's ready to shoot. So guys, I hope you're enjoying the series so far at LPVOs. I hope you're learning something. I hope it's helping you out. The next video in this series, I believe, is actually how to zero the LPVO. So we'll be looking forward for that. Until next time, guys, get out to the range, be more proficient. Make sure you're keeping up with all the two-way legislation going on at the local, state, and federal level. If you need to, contact your congressmen, your senators. Make sure you contact your governors, whoever you need to contact to make sure that they have your best interest with the Second Amendment in mind. So, guys, like I said, get out to the range, have fun, enjoy shooting, and enjoy your freedoms. Until next time, Semper Fi.